All right, Conversations with Friends, the end. Episodes 11 and 12. I feel like in these two, we really got to the meat of the book, the core of what we were reading this whole time, waiting for in these two episodes. But at the same time, it felt like a very different experience than the book.
That's
you're holding
exactly it. I know. People can't. I mean, and we should say this. We don't talk about this beforehand, so I never know what your reaction will be. But I know I'm just like it just feels different. Even though I'm not saying that's wildly different if you compare things. It's
at
not.
all.
I just
not at all.
There are little small changes, but these are not it's just a feel.
It is. And I will say, I think we talked about it a little bit yesterday, maybe alluded to this is where they were going with it. I feel like it really became a grounded look at what non-monogamy might look like, what having multiple partners who are all in the know, all up and up, all good, what that might actually look and feel like logistically and emotionally. And I might have been reading Conversations with Friends wrong. I might have been. I think I can accept that. But when I read the book, I really felt, I don't know, I guess I'm just someone who believes in capital T, capital L love, true love. And I guess I really am all about monogamy. Now, I've never tested this theory, but watching it, it just didn't seem interesting to me to spread yourself out like that. Like to give your love, compartmentalize your love, to divide your love. So I think even because we did, we're not dumb. We were reading the book. And
we were talking about first love, second love. Can you have more than one love? So these things were all
there. They're all there.
We were having that conversation in a way.
Yeah.
And obviously we know it was about non-monogamy. I mean, that's exactly what was happening.
Well, so it was in there. Yeah. I don't think I really understood that in the way that I'm seeing it. I'm realizing now I truly was waiting for one relationship to rise to the top. And maybe that I was seeing all of this in transition. Was it Nick transitioning away from his wife? Was it Frances transitioning away from Bobby? Was it Frances coming back to Bobby? It could have gone so many different ways in my mind, but I'm now realizing I really thought these relationships were just transitioning and that this wasn't the end all be all of how it would look. And that I think that was conveyed in the show, that this is how this is supposed to look.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's exactly how I felt too, but that somehow, and again, maybe we did read it wrong, but and we even acknowledged that, not that we read it wrong, but that even on our first read, when we got to the part that you called the twist, if we would reread it, we would see the emphasis was maybe more on her always being in love with Bobby, and that had been the driving force. So we did acknowledge even at the time, sort of, that we read it wrong or the emphasis was different, but this is still different, but
I just saw, again, I still saw those relationships in transition. What I saw was maybe more Nick, will he transition away from Melissa and to Frances or not? And then the twist for me, finding out that Bobby was really the driving force, then I was like, oh, so is this all about Frances being strong enough to come back to Bobby? Mm-hmm. So, but again, it was never to me about true logistical, emotional navigating non-monogamy, as in like this would always be the way it was.
Yeah. And I think the reason I liked the end so much in the book was because, as we've talked about, this whole discussion of what is a relationship, and Frances saying if someone makes you happy, then, and I thought that's a little different than I think how you ended up. So mine should support, I feel like, more of this ending in a way, because you can be in love with Bobby, but you can also have this relationship with Nick because he makes you happy, and somehow all four of you can navigate this, like you're saying. But Yet somehow then when I saw it, I'm like, well, how the fuck is this going to work? I think I was back to being kind of what you said to me when we did the show. So now what?
Yeah.
But I guess that's the thing. There is no now what. Or Bobby would tell us we're trying to put labels on, right? And say that one is more important than the other. It's just, if Nick's going to make her happy in some way and vice versa, then and Bobby, of course, still makes her happy, then it's messy, but
it doesn't even seem messy for them.
Yeah,
it seems like everything seems pretty clear. We're going to be committed to each other in our own way. Okay. They don't seem to have any issue with that. I know.
But there was nothing.
I do.
Yeah, she wasn't back with Nick yet when they said that. That sounded good.
Yeah.
But can they? I wonder what going forward, if you saw how would this really? Is it not going to be messy just because they agreed to that? And it's Nick. If she goes back and tells Bobby now, 5 minutes after this finale ended, actually now I'm sleeping with Nick. Maybe Bobby doesn't care. Not she doesn't
that
care,
was definitely my assumption.
Yeah,
that was definitely my assumption.
Melissa, you think she doesn't care?
No, she already made peace with it.
Yeah,
she already invited them over for dinner. And
but then they have the fight they have, or where she goes with the discussion.
Oh,
they
yeah,
have
that was
over
good.
the phone.
Yeah.
But basically,
that was
she's
about
like,
the
stay
two
the
of
fuck
them.
away from my husband, basically.
Yeah, but I think that was about you're so selfish, you're so self-centered, you don't even know what you're doing and how you're
hurting him, and then leaving, and I deal with the wake, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
But couldn't that happen again? I mean, she's saying,
I guess it just seems like this feels more settled in. Like everybody, so it was like Frances freaking out about what is this whole scenario, and now she's settled into it. She was the kind of the last one to get on board, it seems like to me.
Yeah.
And that this would all be fine. I'm just not, I don't know. I'm not interested in that at all. It's so interesting to feel like I know something. Like I really learned something from this show to the extent that this isn't what it's supposed to be. I think for me, I really do believe in silly Bobby. So Bobby would call me silly. I believe in like a romantic partner, one romantic partner, and that the idea of giving different parts of yourself to someone else it doesn't seem appealing to me at all. At all.
Yeah, and now that's even clearer to you watching this unfold.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it just felt very unsatisfying. I'm like, great. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I think
I felt good for them. I'm like, good for
Yes.
them. I really did feel like they all had it figured out. I did believe that she would go back to Bobby and Bobby would say, that's cool. They might have further discussions like, don't ghost me for him. Like they might have further discussions as to how this all works. Right. But I felt like it was all fine by all four of them. And they would have lots of dinners and maybe even Bobby and Melissa. Who knows if they were getting something different from each other.
Right. If they were making each other happy in some way under this theory.
I thought
I don't know.
It was all working. It just didn't work for me.
Yeah. I got you.
Yeah. So do you want to talk about some of these episodes?
Sure.
Yeah. So first, I forgot to mention after the last one, ending episode 10, that cover of Gwen Stefani, or No Doubts, Just a Girl. Mm-hmm. That was so good.
I know. I have been
loved
forgetting. I mean, we've talked a little bit about the music, but that was really good. Really good.
That was a really good one. Yeah. And then episode 11, the two we're covering here, starts with them in the restaurant at the bar. And
Frances and
Nick. Yes, it's Frances and Nick. It's really Nick's moment to shine. There's a lot of camera right on him. There's a lot of emoting. He's talking about his depression because Frances says, what happened to you last year? And he tells the whole story, which was very much exactly like the book. It seemed to really move her. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she felt for him.
It moved me. I thought it was. It reminded me a little of the episode in Normal People where Connell goes through his bout of depression. I felt like for both Paul Mescal and now here Joe Alwyn, was their acting moment, and where I felt their vulnerability, and I felt it for him and Nick. To this point, he's had moments where he is vulnerable, but I think it's been an evolution for him to now we get here and we see, I think, some more emotion, some more vulnerability. You get, we know she met him when he was at a low point, and we've heard little bits of it from Melissa and others, but to hear him explain it, I was moved, really.
Yeah. Yeah, and it brings up, again, it was so good that we talked about 9 and 10, because I really did have a different perspective on Frances being so moved by it. I was like, okay, this is not about her, and I certainly never would have said preying on the weak. That was not how I felt. But if it was more like, okay, you're weak, pounce, like I like you now. But I was like, no, she's just really seeing that moment of vulnerability. So I was really glad we had that discussion. But it didn't surprise me that she was so moved by that. I'm really interested to hear you say that, though, because I don't know. I was moved, certainly. And in a friend, I would like have hugged them, and like it would have been, but I don't know, in a relationship, it just felt like too much all at once. I was like, it would have, it's super immature to say it would have totally scared me off. I'd be like, bye.
Oh,
okay.
at this point, though, in there, like if he had, opened with that in there for really.
In fact,
I'm surprised to hear
if he
you
had
say that.
opened with that, I think I might have been more drawn in. But it does feel like at this point in time when things were kind of precarious, I would have tipped me over the okay.
Oh, I
go
see.
Back, go figure that out.
Because I feel like, I guess personally that you're very good at dealing with things and people expressing their emotions to you and helping them work through it.
Absolutely, I am. I'm just not attracted to that in a part like that. And at a crucial attraction point, it would have been too much, too neatly wrapped up.
Even though he was talking about it in the past tense.
Yes, that's actually why. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's what the neatly wrapped up for me. It was like, okay, now I did that, and I'm like, okay, well then.
Well, yeah, I don't think he means and now I'm good. I'm
no.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
But it lets him get to the point where he says, that he's not expressive, and to explain how he was so closed off, and then her to say, I'm not expressive either. It gives them this point of commonality, which keeps happening with them.
Maybe that is what it was. Thank you for saying that, because I think then he's not really figuring out how to be expressive. He's just kind of dumping it. And I think like that's how it felt to me, and I didn't even realize it until you said that. It is just, I don't know. Is that the excuse for not being expressive? And is it going to always be that way? Then that's not going to work for me.
I think it's the excuse why, for why I wasn't at first, because when you met me, here's where I was. And I was just coming out of that. And, he said it, and I think he didn't feel like he could be loved. Like he felt unlovable at that moment. Yeah. And so he was guarded.
But honestly, everybody feels like that. I mean, I don't think that's like
but I think he was pretty low. I mean, if and pretty much at a point like, how could anyone love me? I can barely get out of bed. Last week I was asleep all day, and now he was guarded, I think, at first. So it's an excuse more of an explanation. Excuse sounds like bullshit, but
right. I guess it just, to me, is it indicative of something that's done, or is it indicative of something how it's always going to be? Because if it's something that he has not done, meaning his struggles, that's not, I'm talking about the expression of it, the working through of it. Will he keep it all inside until it's just this one conversation? That doesn't work for me. If it's that now he's figured out how to express himself all along, which didn't seem right.
But I guess then she says that she's also cold and not expressive. So I think for both of them, it's partially always going to be like that. And maybe, I do.
Sure. Yeah.
And I'd like to say, but with each other, they're so expressive. It's not that. It's not like you're the one that finally gets me to open up.
Yeah, and maybe it's interesting, because I am the one who's not expressive in my relationship, and my husband is, and I couldn't deal with someone who was like me in that way. I couldn't deal with that.
Mm-hmm. Their sameness, which they do emphasize many times throughout this, in a way, you can look at it as, oh, you get it, you understand.
Yeah.
But your point is, yeah, but if you're both like that,
it doesn't work.
How's that
That's
gonna
what
work?
I'm saying. I
Yeah.
do really like it in relationships. I loved. I'm only saying, like, I don't think I would date him after the next day. Like, maybe
Yeah.
be friends. Maybe we would date in a year because we would have to be friends for a year. But it's in that moment where I'm like, I don't think this is going to work between us, and I certainly would not say it in that.
Yeah. yes.
But yeah, I need something. I need something else. But
But
anyway,
they make each other happy is what
well,
they say.
is what they say. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't see it, but whatever. Okay. Yeah. Right.
I do see some of that. I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm not saying in this exact moment, but I have seen those moments.
Right. Okay. And then this, well, this part was the part I loved when she was like, do you still want children? Because any conversation of children is
Gets
what
Corinne.
gets me. That's right. You
This
could
is
have
where I
wrapped-
zone out. I'm like, who the
No.
fuck cares about children?
Right.
I'm kidding.
It could have been the point where I turn around. So maybe that's not, maybe what I said was jumping the gun. And he said, yeah, but it's off the table. And I don't really remember what that was about. Like they had talked about it and they're not going to have kids, Nick and Melissa. Is that right?
Well, they had that fight is all. I mean, the discussion right before this where he describes why he was depressed was because they got in a fight about having kids. But you're right. It's not clear. So what was the fight? She was just saying she was saying she doesn't want to have them. But why is it off the table? Meaning she's never going to change her mind, I guess is what he's saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what okay.
Yeah.
And that was like it. Okay.
Yeah. I know.
Right.
Why can't you keep talking about it? It sounds
Right.
like conversation
yeah.
over.
It does feel like, and even if it's not a conversation, a nice conversation, it could be a fight over and over. I know I've had them. So
Yeah.
I wanted more kids. And so it was not I talked to him once and he said no. And I was like, okay, well, that's off the table now. It was not, it was a constant negotiation until it wasn't. But then Frances gets her diagnosis, which I thought was handled really well. I would totally have heard the doctor say, there's so many advancements, it could lead to infertility. I would have gone straight to, I can never have kids, as it seems Frances does as well.
Yes.
She basically thinks to herself, I'm never going to have kids. And even though I think the doctor says something very, very different.
Yeah. Very different, but that is not how she heard it.
Yeah. But I could relate to that. I would definitely have done the same, especially about kids. Like, that's it. It's over.
Oh my gosh. And I would have been like, well, there are advancements and we can do this and I will see 22 more doctors and we will figure this out and it will be fine. And yeah, I would have the exact
that's funny.
opposite. And I would have told everyone.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, she lies to everyone.
Yes. And I would have
Lies
told
to her
them.
mother,
I would have done the
lies
same.
to Nick, you would have done the same. I know.
Yeah. I need time to process. I
Yeah.
wouldn't have been forever, but certainly walking out of, because, and I felt this very clearly in the moment with her mother, especially. I'm assuming her mother's going to have feelings about that, right? And as she
Yes.
should be allowed to. She might think, oh God, I'll never have grandchildren. Or she might be like, thank God I never had grandchildren. Like whatever. Or she might
she'll
go,
be so sad
we're going to
for her
go
daughter.
see 22
Right.
doctors, or she's going to have her own feelings. Yeah, I know it's sad for her daughter, but she's also going to have her own feelings. And so I wouldn't be ready for that. So let
No, it makes
me
sense
process it first, and then
what you're-
we'll process other things.
Right. It makes sense what you're saying. I would just never be able to do it. It would just come out of my mouth without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is not necessarily a great idea because you're right. Then I'm dealing with my own processing and my mother's in that instance. But
Yeah. Yep.
it's just what I would do. And I definitely would have told Nick.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that.
No, because the first time they talk, he says, I slept with Melissa.
Well, but she lies to him first.
Oh, she says it's fine.
Yeah, she says
Okay.
she lies and says it was just bad period pain. She says the exact same thing she said
Okay.
to her mother. And then he's like, this is probably bad timing.
Yeah.
Although, you know what? If she had told him the real truth, he might not have laid the I slept with Melissa bomb on her.
Definitely not. I
So.
think. Definitely not. Yeah. And Frances doesn't take it well.
No, she does not take it. She bangs her head against the wall.
Yeah.
That bang reminded me of Wendy Bird banging her head against the glass. And yeah, he's aggressive. I'm like, yikes.
Yeah. That was in
yeah.
the book though too.
Yeah, but
We
to
know
see
self-harm. We know self-harm is always part of a Sally
Yes.
Rooney novel.
Though it's
So
much
I was kind of waiting
less
for it.
here. In
Yeah,
the
I
show.
know.
They really sanitized that. There was much more in the book.
Oh, I don't remember it being
There
more in the book.
was.
I remember feeling like this is her first book. She hadn't quite gotten to it yet. And
There's
so-
more in the book, not as much as normal people, but this is really nothing.
I don't remember
besides
more
this
than
and the
the
Nick.
head and the cut.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
there was some more.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but still not a ton.
I don't
But this is
remember.
literally very little.
Yeah.
So yeah, she does not take it well.
She does not take it well. And then Nick's birthday?
Yep, next
Yeah,
birthday
which
party.
is-
She's
yeah.
still not taking it well.
No.
Now she's just turning mean, and
She
you know,
is.
did you call me with your dick still inside her, or was there a gap? That
Yeah.
I don't remember that line from the book, but I understand. And he to his credit, is like, can we talk properly about this? 'Cause no, we cannot.
Yeah. Yeah. She said, I'm
No.
having a hard time processing you fucking your wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's not, like I said, it seemed Frances, by the end of these two, it seems Frances was the last one to get on board with, you know, understanding that there could be some sort of other arrangement that wasn't just her monopolizing whoever she wanted.
Exactly. And she needs to get to rock bottom first before she can see all this.
Yeah. Well, oof.
I mean, she has to have the fight. She has to break up with Nick, and then she has to fight with Bobby, and then before she can start to see some of this. And she has to have Melissa yell at her.
Yeah. Which I love.
I know.
I love
I'm
that
like,
one.
No,
Yeah.
that redeemed the email.
It did redeem the email. It really did for me. But Bobby's dressing down was just perfect.
So good. That's what I'm saying. Frances has to get dressed down, be down and out before she can get on board with what everyone else seems to see.
Yeah, that was great. She said, Melissa showed me your story. What's wrong with you? I don't think you think anyone else is real. Standing at that party all wounded or I think injured, kissing me, then writing this shit instead of communicating anything. So dehumanizing, she said about when she was reading some of the part of the story. My only role in the world is to move effortlessly through the world in contrast to you. You're
Poor fucking you.
Yes, that's right.
It's worse
Poor
than
fucking
that.
you.
Yeah.
Your self-obsession is exhausting and it's hurting and it's fucking boring.
Yes. Bam.
Loved that.
Don't fuck with Bobby.
That was so good.
Yeah, gonna give it to you straight. And then I don't think I can be your friend anymore. I don't want you in my life.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
But
Yeah.
that's what she needed.
She did.
And she was standing at that party all wounded and,
Yeah.
I mean.
yeah.
So
And then
that was,
she goes
not
and
good.
cuts herself
Yes.
to relieve some of the pain that she's feeling.
But then she gets more pain because then she talks to Nick.
Mm-hmm.
And, can we talk about it? There's nothing to talk about. Do you want me to leave her? He asks.
Yeah, but I meant pain of realizing the truth of herself and seeing herself with a little more clarity, the way Bobby cut through to her core.
Yeah.
Nick doesn't ever do that for her.
No, but I still
not
don't
in
think
this
she
scene.
realizes this yet with Bobby. I think Bobby has said this, and then when she writes her the apology email, I think at that point she has realized what you're saying, that she
I think she feels it on a visceral level. That's why
Visceral
she
level.
cuts herself.
Right,
To
yes.
relieve that pain.
That's
No,
why
she
she-
can't yet process it and express it. I agree. But she feels it deeply, and that's why she cuts to relieve it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then but then I know he doesn't cut her viscerally to the core, but then, then they break up.
Mm-hmm.
So now I just feel like she's taking all the blows right now.
Oh gosh, I feel like that was her starting to process it. She's saying, I don't know how
Yes.
to do this anymore. I'm not managing very well. She knows she's hurting a lot of people and fucking shit up. And so
Right.
that's
She's
why
got
I
it.
think this is the first kind of step out of herself that she does.
Yes, but I think she needed both of. It's coming at her from both angles. I feel like I know you're saying you think it's just Bobby.
I do. And then
Yeah.
this is her reaction to
Action
Bobby,
to
her
Bobby.
starting to
Okay.
process the way she has done things.
Right.
And
Right.
and then putting that out in the world. Then like she loses the good, and so she has to lash out bad. Like she
Yeah.
does. I thought she did that well with Nick. She says, I don't know how to do this anymore. I'm not managing well. She's vulnerable and upset. And because she's vulnerable and upset, she lashes out, calls Melissa. Next scene, first scene of episode 12, right? Man,
Aggressive chat.
I had no idea what she was doing when she was
No,
like,
neither did she.
It was like, and it shows like she's her thumbs over Melissa. I'm like, is she gonna call Melissa?
I know.
Why? I actually thought like, is she gonna look for writing advice? Like, what is this conversation gonna be? Because she just broke up with Nick. Who cared? Like, why is she calling
What is she
Melissa?
calling it? Yeah.
Oh, dumb me! I forgot. It's always about Bobby.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So she calls about Bobby.
Yeah. Why did you show her my article? And I think Melissa has a perfectly good explanation. Well, first of all, it's like, why didn't you?
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
You're coming at me. Why didn't you? And
But also, she's like, I'm sorry. What? Why do you think this is about you? Like, is this level
actually,
of
her answer was,
narcissism?
I don't know, Francis. Why did you fuck my husband? That was actually her
Yes, yes,
response.
yes.
So, yeah. And then it was, why didn't you? I
Yeah.
assumed you had.
Right, no. Right. And then she says, like, is this level of narcissism normal at this
I don't
age?
remember. Yeah. Is this
Yes, I
level of-
can't remember.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And then she's like, no, I'm very special.
Yeah, I know.
Francis.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then, she's like, lays into her.
Yeah.
That you took every opportunity basically to come at me, Melissa. And she's like, no,
Melissa, yeah.
everything was about Nick. It wasn't about you. And she's like, he's my husband. I'm part of it. I was like, yeah, because she was like, what? I didn't do anything to you.
Right.
This was about Nick. And she's like, are you serious right now? Do you not understand the correlation?
Yeah. I thought that was really powerful.
It was. But then she says, if anything, I was envious of you, of your career and your life. And I remember her saying that in the book to Melissa. But Melissa's response, so like it's supposed to be a compliment? You're giving me a compliment? Yeah. Your actions have impact. You made my depressed husband happy for a while, and then you gave up when things got complicated, and you weren't the fucking center of everything. And now he's struggling again, and you call me like you're the fucking victim. Oh, you know how I
So
feel about
good.
victim. Yes. Yeah.
So good.
Look
yeah.
what you did. Don't come at me like you're the victim. Leave us alone, she says. Yeah, just basically leave us alone.
Yeah. I feel like this came out much more in the show for me. Like the seeing that Melissa, just having Melissa on screen. And even because when you're reading it in the book and the scene is just between the two of them in bed and it feels like it's just about Nick and Francis. I understood that. And then just seeing Melissa on the screen at events in Croatia, it just like, the affair part of it felt more obvious than it did in the book, where in the book it just felt like it's just these two people and will they or won't they and what will they become? But
right. Yeah. Just absolutely agree. To see it like this was much more difficult to watch for me.
Yeah.
And I thought that scene was great. But then she apologizes, Frances, for the aggressive phone call.
Yes.
Because right, she says, I don't know what I'm doing. She doesn't.
Yeah.
I wish I had been more thoughtful. I want to apologize for that. And I'm going to hang up now. It's just get me out of this conversation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then she writes to Bobby.
Yeah. It all goes back to Bobby.
I wanted to say sorry and for that to mean something different this time.
I love that opening. That's
so
a great,
good.
yes. Because how many people say sorry? And how many times has she said sorry? But I want it to mean something different this time. And I feel like if I got an email like that, all right, I'm listening.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I just want to reiterate. I know I think I said it, like, these two episodes were so good. This is what I was waiting for this whole time. Like, this is the meat of the relationships and going sideways and getting it right and making good and then also lashing out. And it's all of it.
Yes.
It's all of it. Yeah. And then she continues to say, like, because Bobby had rightfully pointed out that it was kind of dehumanizing the way she talked about her in that story, and she said that was me trying to reach for something, a feeling, not an accurate description of you, which I thought was also really,
Yes.
oh, hey, now I get it. Now I could see that. It would take me out of that place where I was angry with her for writing it that way. What else?
Oh, but I love where she says, we deconstruct everything, but we've never talked about why we couldn't be together. And I think I've been reacting against that. And that's what, you said that in the book. We've said it now. Everything has been a reaction to Bobby.
Yeah.
And the unresolved feelings, the thing that was between them, and that I just felt like she's right. We talk about everything, but for her, she never really understood why they couldn't be together.
Yeah.
And then I always thought maybe I wasn't capable of love. She was too selfish, something wrong with me. That isn't true. I know that I've hurt you, but I love you and I always have.
Yeah. Yeah. Our relationship isn't a game. I shouldn't have treated it like one. I think about you constantly. I want to sleep with you. I want to kiss you. She really poured her heart out in every way. And contrast this with the way Nick did it earlier. It must just be the timing and the way. There's just a feeling, because if I was Bobby receiving this email, I would be like, in bed, let's go.
Which basically is what happened.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is.
As felt appropriate to me. So there is something, I guess, vulnerability and timing and the way it's received and the way it's offered is so tenuous. It's so, it can be so many, it just has to hit right, I guess.
Right.
And
I
this
think
hit right.
One, though, it's about their relationship and they're finally being honest about it and their feelings. Whereas Nick's moment of vulnerability was really about him and his
That's right. Oh, that's
depression. So I think this one
also would have felt like a dumping on me.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Oh gosh. Yes. You're getting all the good stuff here, Kate.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Although I did wonder at the end of it was very secondary, but I did wonder, I've hurt you, Bobby, but I love you and I always have. I just wondered where Nick fit into that. Does she love Nick? Does she love Nick solidly second? Does it not matter?
I don't think it matters now.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like now. I think when I read the book, I thought she loved them both. Remember? And by the end and after our discussion, I realized, okay, I guess Bobby was the primary love and Nick was the secondary love. And now I'm thinking, I don't know that it really matters.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. No, I felt the same way, but yeah.
It's certainly different. It feels different, their love.
Than her love for Bobby.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Bobby's response is, that was a solid email.
yeah.
So good. I love that.
It's a solid email.
And then she apologizes too.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's be more straightforward with each other. I agree. And then they have sex.
Yes. And that's a stark difference for me from the book. Just visually seeing that. It's not as if we don't read the words that they slept together. I mean, we talked about that on it too. And you felt like that was a big factor in the twist for you. And you're like, but they slept together and their relationship has changed, Kate. Because I was like, the relationship's really amorphous to me. No.
Yeah.
But this has been different through the show throughout. I would never have said that now watching the show. But then to watch the actual sex scene, this was very powerful, very different than just reading the line, they slept together.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I mean, they don't even describe the sex scene in the book.
Right. I think it's more described as like a progression of, like, she moves in and then she starts sleeping in her room and then they start
sleeping together.
Yes. And it's like, and it's like repeatedly, but it's summarized. Yeah.
Right. Which is, certainly different than this.
Seeing this. Yeah. Yeah. And she notices her cut. Bobby notices Frances's cut. I did it after you left. I freaked myself out. I'm not going to do it again. I liked that.
Yeah.
I liked that.
Too.
It was, again, a real vulnerable moment.
Right.
Yeah. Now I'm thinking all of the ways, right? Also the vulnerability, like with intimacy. always gets me.
Oh,
I
me
think that
too.
was another thing about the Nick in the restaurant. He was like squared up to the camera, but
Yeah.
which, but not like turned looking
No.
at Francis.
And yes.
And it didn't, and it felt like a monologue. It felt like a
Yes.
delivery of a monologue, and
Right.
there wasn't. She wasn't pulling any vulnerability out of him. She just said
It
what
was
happened.
a monologue.
It was, and so that again would also lead to my feelings of like, all right, dude.
Yeah.
Okay,
Also,
that's
even the
you.
way it's shot, there was
Yeah.
a moment after he gives the monologue, and then she says something, and we're looking at them from behind,
Mm.
and you see like the side of his face, like he doesn't turn. And I thought it was very strange. I was like, is he gonna? First of all, I just thought it was a strange angle, but yeah, we were removed, and they were not looking at each other, and the whole thing felt. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's very different versus
Very different.
them, as you are saying, talking about her self-harm and I'm not going to do this again, and they're talking about it while they're wrapped in each other's arms after,
Yeah. I'm just unpacking my visceral feeling that moment did not get, like you said, it really got you, and it did not get me. And I was like, oh shit, what the fuck is wrong with me?
No, but I think I
but
can
I'm
see that.
yeah, I'm unpacking it as we're contrasting with some of the other moments of vulnerability for Francis too, not just that. Yeah, so I'm feeling more comfortable with that.
Right. And then we got like a rom-com montage. I felt like more of them dancing. God, they still only give us tiny
Just
little bits of them
snipped, yeah.
dancing. Yeah, but it looked, of them hanging out, sleeping together, kissing. It was a full rom-com montage of, I felt, of Bobby and Francis while the Phoebe Bridgers song is playing.
Oh, so good.
I know.
Sidelines.
I'm not even going to try it. I
So
can't.
good.
I'm like,
Yeah. But did you skip over their conversation? Like the conversation the next morning after they've had
oh, you
sex?
said committed. Sorry, but you're right.
Yeah.
There was more to that.
Yeah, and she says, Bobby says, I don't want to move back in. And Francis agrees, I don't want that either.
Yeah, we were like an old married couple.
We acted like we owned each other. I thought that was really interesting.
Yes.
And then Bobby, of course, goes to Bobby. She's like, it's monogamy and you have to fight so hard to resist it.
Yes.
But then they say, Francis says, I do want us to be committed to each other in our own way,
Right.
whatever that
Whatever
means.
that means,
And Bobby
yeah.
says, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but I presumably her going with Nick is okay under that
Yeah.
theory or
Yes.
label, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. They're still committed to each other in their own way.
And being honest. So they'll talk about things.
That's
Not
certainly
in the Francis way, in the new Francis way. Not the way Francis used to talk about things.
Yeah.
I still think Francis is going to have she's not cured overnight either, but I think this is a good start.
No. Yeah, exactly. And then are we at Nick calls by accident?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick
Anything?
calls by accident. I mean, there's stuff with her mother, but it seems
Oh,
like
right. Yes.
they've,
Yeah, that's right. No, I liked
Yeah.
that. That's right. When Francis says, I mean, that seemed like a big turning point for Francis too. When she first was talking about her dad, like, I don't know if I should love him unconditionally. I don't know if that's a thing. And then here she says, I love both of you. I just wish it had turned out better. Me too, their mom says. But we're not in control of that. You make decisions and you hope. I loved that.
yeah, and I don't remember any of that from the book. If it was, I don't think her mother and her have a heart to heart by the end. But I also liked the part where she shared some things about her dad and what he was like when they met. Because I think earlier on, Francis was kind of trying to pull that out of her mom. Like, what was it?
Yeah.
And she didn't give it to her. And now she did. She said he was funny and he was kind. And I think
Yep.
that helped. She hasn't seen that version of her father, if she ever did, in a long, or if she has, it's been a long time. And I thought that was a very sweet moment too.
I did too. I'm pretty sure it's in the book. I just don't know about the son. I just don't remember. It felt more powerful, that line, "Will you make decisions and you hope?" That just felt.
Yes.
I like that. Really got me.
Yes.
But Nick calls.
By accident.
Yeah. I've been very strict with myself not calling you. You said, and I think she says, why? Well, you said you didn't want to see me anymore.
Right. And that was in the book.
Yeah.
He's had to restrain himself. So
Yes.
indicating he wished he had wanted to and had thought of her,
Yeah.
but didn't.
Yeah.
And I think this is also similar. He says, "How's Bobby?" And she tells him that they're back together.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we sleep together and we love each other.
Mm-hmm.
In the book, though, there was that whole thing about Bobby not wanting to call them, put a label on it. And we felt like when she was talking to Philip or whatever, we felt like a lot of it was Frances reacting to Bobby not wanting to label things. And I feel like it was done. I liked this better here, that they had this conversation that you just referenced, where they're, let's be honest, let's be committed, whatever that means. And so that was different, but I felt I liked that.
Yeah, very different.
Better
it was
now.
less ping pongy, which is the whole
Yes.
book was a ping
Less
pong.
ping
Like
pong.
Frances, do you are drawn to Bobby, you ping pong away from her, you pull in Nick, then you go back to Bobby. Like it was very volatile in that way. And this is much more, I think we started saying it last time too, it's more grounded in what this would actually look like if you were functioning healthy adults, like
Yes, more
enter
mature.
into a relationship like this. Yeah.
Right. So that was another example of that.
Totally different for me. Totally different feel.
And then she tells him about the endometriosis, which also in the book she was asking him. I thought she was asking him advice. You thought I was probably giving her too much credit. Like she doesn't care what Nick thinks. But this is totally different because she's not asking, should I tell Bobby?
Yeah.
Remember,
no.
she was asking Nick, should I tell Bobby? But here she's telling Nick.
Yeah. In the book, I had said that she was doing it to be, and manipulative is too strong of a word, but she was doing it because we knew that Nick likes to feel helpful and that that's something that makes him happy and makes him feel good.
Right.
And so she had purposely asked for his advice, not because she cared about his advice, but because she wanted him to feel good.
Right.
Yeah.
And I thought she
That's
really
all
was
gone
going
here.
to him. Yeah, that's all gone here. And now it's, it's more about her sharing with him, and why and how it relates to the two of them and what happened between them. So that was very different for me. And, so instead she relates it to, you had just told me you were sleeping with Melissa again, and I just felt like my body wasn't going to feel good to you anymore, which I thought was very honest again and vulnerable.
Yeah.
In that moment. And when he says, why didn't you tell me? I was worried you'd treat me like a sick person, and I didn't want that. And in the book, she was worried that Bobby was going to treat her like a sick person, and that's why she was hiding the things in her drawer or whatever. But anyway, I didn't know what it all meant, and I wish I had known, he says. I felt like I was not what you wanted, that I was getting it all wrong. You weren't. It was just really complicated. And he said, you weren't happy that I loved someone. This is a little bit different too. And she says, and all the time I loved someone else. What a hypocrite. And she does not say that in the book, that she's realizing I was doing the same thing. Like, I didn't want you to love someone, but I love someone else. So, before we were saying on the last one that they met each other when they were both low. And we just talked about that. And now though, they feel like equals to me, or meeting each other in the same place, but it's a different place. Instead of them both being at their low point, now I think they're both at this better place.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I feel like that is hopeful. That
Yeah.
now,
Yeah. I totally felt like this was all going to be great for everybody.
yeah,
The
like
happiest
this-
ending I've ever seen
Yeah.
for a Sally Rooney. But I don't think it was the same as the book.
No, although I don't know. I've thought about this because
At the end of
said
the
it
book,
was my
I was like,
favorite.
it's the same old shit. They're just going to do the same old thing. They're going to bounce back and forth continually because Bobby had just said, we're not in a relationship, and almost ridiculed her, like, no. And then
Yes.
she reacted to that. And then by drawing in Nick when she had the opportunity. So I thought it was like more of the same path. This feels incredibly different.
Right. That this is possibly going to be workable, even though you
Yes.
necessarily wouldn't want to be in that situation. It seems like it could be workable for
them.
these four.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
no reason to doubt that. the way they've shown it. None.
Yeah, and a lot they interviewed the actors about this ending, and all of them talk about how it doesn't tie things up.
It doesn't.
In
Yeah.
true Sally Rooney, it doesn't, but I feel like it sort of does in a way.
But like you're saying, she might have gone back to. You said it earlier.
Yeah.
What if she goes back to Bobby and says, "I've been sleeping with Nick," and she freaks out? I mean, I don't think it's all tied up. We don't know. We're saying constant conversations they'll continue to have and negotiating the
Right.
terms of what it looks like. But I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's still hopeful without being tied up.
Right. But it's somewhat tied up for Sally Rooney to me. I mean, meaning I feel at the end that like kind of what you're saying, that this could work. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to, but I guess that's not tied up then if it could work.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does feel like the most hopeful thing we've ever seen.
yeah.
But also, to me, dissatisfying. So
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's good, because if it was dissatisfying and
Yeah.
not hopeful, I think I
Right.
would have like thrown something at my TV. But the hopefulness that I felt for these four people was definitely outweighed, that I was like, well, I don't want to do that. That doesn't seem
Right.
like good love to me. That is not the kind of love that would fill my tank. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. See, I'm not quite as over there as you, because I think, because I still have some of the words of, those words weren't in here, but it was implicit. This idea of finding happiness with different people and getting what you need from different relationships. And I don't know.
Well, I very much believe in that, but not
No, but not romantic.
you're
love
romantic.
relationships.
Yes.
Yeah,
but I'm a big Esther Perel fan.
No, I
and
know.
We
You can't get
too
everything
much-
from one person.
Yes,
and
we put too much in the modern world. Relationships, we put too much on
Yeah.
one person to be your best friend, your soulmate,
Right.
your
Yeah.
your
Yes.
lover, your trusted
Everything.
confidant, every single thing. I actually completely agree that that's too much to ask of one relationship. The good thing for me is I've always known that was always too much. One person never was. I was not. I've always needed more, because I'm just an intense person.
Right.
So,
but from the romantic love
Yes.
part, yeah, that's
Only
got to
one.
be. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I find it, that part. I don't know. I don't know how. I mean, it seems confusing.
yeah. Oh, but wait. I thought you were saying you didn't agree.
No, meaning I could see that you can find happiness from others. It just doesn't mean that's all she's saying. What is a relationship? It's if somebody makes you happy, then so you can find happiness. It just might not be, the romantic love part might only be able to be from one person, but maybe she's getting, I don't know. What is
Okay.
happiness? I don't know.
Right. Maybe that's what I was
Yeah.
going to say. Maybe that's our disconnect. Because
Yeah.
to me, if I needed to get my romantic love from multiple sources, that would not make me happy. Now, some person maybe like that, parts of it would make me happy, like circumstantially, like when I'm with the person, that sounds great. But that would not make me a happy person. And so I guess I just see that those two things as irreconcilable, but you're not saying that it can't make someone happy, but it couldn't
Yeah.
make you happy. I'm
I
asking.
don't think so. I mean, if two people make each other happy, then it's working. I mean, yeah,
I guess I'm asking if you have to get multiple. I agree with that statement. If somebody is making you happy, then it's working. And conversely, if somebody is making you unhappy, then it's not working. But I wouldn't be happy if I had to
get
divide
romantic
myself.
love from multiple sources.
Yeah, divide
I think
myself
that's-
that way.
Yeah. On
I
that
think I'd be
issue.
I think I'd be
Yeah.
happy in the moment, but not happy. Does that make sense?
I think that's right, because I think I do. Yes, it does make sense. I just think it's confusing to think about, like that you could. I can't imagine it.
Yeah.
I can't.
That's what the show really gave me, an
Yeah.
opportunity to imagine it, because
Yeah.
I don't think I
Yes.
could have when I read the book. And that's why I think I read it wrong, where I
Mm-hmm.
was like, this is really just a transition to find out who is the primary relationship, who is the one that will be the one and only when it's all said and done.
Right.
And
right.
even though that's not in the book, I read that into the book because that's what I want. I want to
Yeah.
be someone's one and only, and I want them to be mine.
Yeah, I do think we read into it what, obviously our own perspective.
Yeah. But the show gave me a real picture, like, okay, this is actually a thing. Like, this is, I mean, I knew it was a thing. I know people engage in non-monogamy in different levels of open marriages, polyamory, so many variations. And this gave me a true sense of it. And I was able to then say, that's not for me.
And our question at the beginning and end of the book was, do you think you can love more than one person? And does your answer any different now than it was?
My answer is absolutely no. If it means romantic love, I think in the book, my answer was yes, but not really. And again, I think what I was implying there is that this must be transitional. We don't know which way it's going to all end up, but it is a working out period to find out who is the one and who will the one be. And so now my answer is unequivocally no. I mean, not children, not parents, not, to me, it's about romantic love. I believe in one. And you can love more than one person in your lifetime.
Yes, but not at the same time.
But not at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah. For me. What about you?
Yeah. Well, so I went into the book, I think with a hard no. You cannot love more than one person at the same time. But then I read the book.
Okay.
No,
you went into the book.
When I went into the book thinking, I was like, there's no way. And I think what had surprised me was that I think we both, again, when we got on there, were thinking, I guess this is possible. But then when there was the line of with your whole heart, that's when I was like, and I think I was agreeing with you that there has to be primary, secondary. Like it can't just be only one gets the whole heart. But now with this, when I watched it, I think I'm with you. I think I don't get how, again, with romantic love, I think I don't know that I'd be able to do this. Because it really, truly, now that I watch it, looks like she really does love both of them.
Yeah.
And you see, when I read the book, I think I thought, like you said, that one was higher than the other. But then when you see them presented, really, they did a great job of this, of really, by the end of them both, I don't know, being equally or just different kinds of romantic loves, but for which she feels strongly about both. Then I don't know that I don't get it. Yeah. Then I don't think I could, meaning I don't get it, meaning I don't think I could.
Right. It's not for you.
My heart, could do that.
Yeah. I almost now feel the same way I felt about the book, about the show. Like I almost want to go back and watch the show. I don't think I understood this is what the show was going to be. And so part of my frustration when watching it was thinking this isn't what I wanted or expected to see. And now that I know this is where they get to, I kind of want to go back and go, okay, this was probably always really leading up to this. It was always setting up for this ending. And I think they did an amazing job.
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if people didn't read the book and they had no expectation. Maybe they did just see this unfold the way they intended. But
yeah, that's a good point. Well, I think we've been, even from the book, I know we're joking that maybe we read a different book, but I think we have gotten the questions and grappled with the issues that we're supposed to grapple with this book and with this series. And I read a quote from Joe Alwyn about what he thinks the ultimate message of this show is, or this story. And I'm like, yes, these are the things. I mean, he says, I think it's a few things. It's a coming of age story for Frances. It really is her story. And I think within that, it's a very modern love story in some ways. It's essentially asking, can you love more than one person? And it's asking how we're able to, or are we able to find happiness and love and intimacy outside of the constructs that we've created for ourselves, of friendships, families, marriages, whatever? Can we love in more ways than just that? And if we can, where does that leave these constructs? And is there a way to make that work? So I guess it's a modern coming-of-age love story about, can you love more than one person? Which is the question we've been asking from the beginning of our episode, even on the book.
Yes. Yeah, I think that perfectly sums it up. I think the answer is yes for people. I think this is a real thing. I think I can
Yes.
see it very clearly. I knew it existed. I can see it clearly. I'm always like whatever works for you. It just I felt clear that it wouldn't work for me, but that it is a thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, comma, for people.
Yes.
For some people.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know that anyone knows that. And I think it is an interesting idea of breaking down those constructs and then finding your place in it. If it does work for you, this feels pretty eye-opening then. It's like, wow,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Maybe this can actually be a thing.
Yeah, and this is important because I do think Bobby has a point when she says that, I mean, her rants about patriarchal society and monogamy being the default. I mean, we do come at it from that perspective, not just personally, but from society. And I think this, to a lot of people, even still, is, what is this? I don't get this. And I think this does a really good job of showing this possibility, whether it's for you or not.
Yes, absolutely. I think, and now I have never been in a relationship like this, so I can't actually say, but it seemed to me to be a real, true representation of what this might look like. Not every single representation, but a true representation. It felt like to me. I do wonder though if it is inherently lacking in some drama for fiction, but. Sally Rooney's always a quiet novel kind of person, so maybe it works. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
All right.
Oh gosh, so we're coming to the end. We are at the end.
Yeah, that's it for me.
Of the marathon. I know.
And going out on Phoebe Bridgers was perfect. Love that. Love that song.
So we don't have any more Sally Rooney to cover.
Not
Unless they
yet.
make Beautiful World, Where Are You into a show.
They should. And then she's got to have a new book.
Yes, I'm just saying, this is a sad day because
For
there's
now.
nothing left
For
to
now.
cover right now.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm okay with
Yeah,
that.
we got plenty of other things.
Yeah. No, I just know there's more coming.
Yes.
I'm waiting for it.
All
All right.